Hey guys, so something happened to me a while back. I went into a, like casual 1v1 practice mode because the ranked PvP queue was taking so long, and I actually ended up matching up against the #1 ranked player in the game in a 1v1 practice mode. Now, I got destroyed. I got 3-stock. I barely did much of any damage to him, and that has not happened to me. Generally, I could at least take away 1 life, and that's like bare minimum. So up till that point, I was doing pretty good in PvP, but this guy destroyed me. But I was like, what the heck happened? He was moving so weird. Like, I could have sworn I should have hit him, but it didn't seem like it did. So I knew there was something that he knew that I didn't know. So I did a lot of research and I looked into a lot of things. And I've also gotten a lot of advice on my first impressions video that I did. So I wanted to share some of that with you. The first thing I want to share with you, this is in my opinion, the most important thing to know in this game. It will help you in every aspect of the game. And it blew my mind when I realized that this was possible. So basically, you can hold down the fire button, and as you're doing that, you can switch back and forth on your secondary weapon, and it essentially will increase your fire rate. Now, I've looked at older videos, and it seems like this isn't as insane as it used to be. There does seem to be like a little bit of a cooldown between how fast you can switch back and forth, back then it didn't look like there was any cooldown, but even now this will crazily increase your damage. Like, this is an absolute must in PvP, but obviously it's going to help you in PvE as well. You'll just do more damage and kill things faster, but not knowing that is going to hinder you so much. And as soon as I figured it out, I could totally feel the difference in PvP. I was killing people like nothing. It was so much easier to kill the mobs to get the buffs in PvP before I didn't even know how you would do that in any reasonable amount of time. This is an absolute must. It works really well with busters. People do it with like snipers. You can do it with basically anything. Swords. That's how you can do a lot of crazy stuff. So maybe I'll do a more in-depth video on that at one point, maybe when the game releases. But at the very least, play around with that. And it will be huge for you if you didn't know, trust me. One thing I want to mention is if you're playing this game on your phone, like using the phone controls, you can come in here and mess with the placement of everything, including the switch weapon button. So it might be easier for you to move this somewhere else. Maybe one of your other fingers can press it so you can move at the same time. So if you have any questions on, how to better use your weapon switching abilities, let me know in the comments and I'll try to help you walk through that, because it can be a little bit different on your phone. Another tip I got from quite a few people when I was looking around and also in the comments section is to don't be afraid to use even B-ranked characters. The characters aren't that off balanced, and some of the B-ranked characters are actually really good once you start them up, and they're easier to start up. So I'm gonna explain a little bit of what that is, what makes them good, and how to actually start up the characters, because it doesn't actually work exactly the same as it does in most gachas. So if you've ever done any pulls in the gacha here and you've gotten duplicates, you may realize that you don't necessarily just get shards for the character that you got duplicates for. What you get are memories, like character memories and weapon memories. So if you get duplicates, you can come in here to the shop at the stores. It looks like the little green shopping cart at the top. It's not just for money purchases, it's for like your currency purchases as well. But you can come in here and you can see some of these characters. It is so cheap to start up the B tier characters. It costs just a fraction of what it would do to an S class. So I have Cinnamon and she is really good, but I could level up Axel or Massimo really easy, and I'll show you what the benefits are of starring up the characters. So we'll just look at Massimo, right? So there's a lot of things that come with starring up a character. one thing, you can add more cards into your card slots, and some of these cards have some really neat stat boosting abilities if you like pair them with certain colors, so that's a big deal. But the biggest part, in my opinion, is the chips that you can put into your skills. So as you can see here, even at 1 star, Maximo gets an ability to where he increases his damage mitigation capability by 25%. That's a big deal. But if you come over here to a second ability where it shoots that big laser beam, as you can see, he acquires a shield that can withstand 100% of attack. And if you come all the way to the 5 star, obtain an invincible effect when used where you will not receive any damage. And I don't think you even have to hit them with this. So these invincibility type moves or even shield type moves are really strong. Could be stronger than a lot of not start up S rank characters, or even a lot of S rank characters in general. So definitely might be worth your time to start up a couple of these, or some of the B class characters that you might want to use. So Maximo is actually really good. I did not think he was good until I realized how strong some of these chips are for their skills. Also, Axel is pretty good as well. So if you come over here to the skill, first off, his second skill has that dash where he becomes invulnerable, but he also gets a shield when he does that, and that's really good. So he's also a really strong B-class character. So if you're free to play, it might be worth just going for them. You can also, not just for PvP, I'm talking more about PvP, these skills, but even in PvE, if you star them up, you'll be able to use these chips and the cards. It'll be easier to progress through the story. That way, later on, it'll be easier to start up the S-class characters that you get. Other notable, like, lower ranked characters that are pretty good for PvP, even X is okay. Skill. So even his charge shot hits like a truck, okay? So that, and on his rocket, he has this thing where he can lower your defense. That's pretty strong, so he's not that bad. I think Vile is decent. I'm using Vile a lot just because I think it's fun, because he can immobilize people. He is squishy. He doesn't have any ways to become invulnerable, but he does also have a way to decrease their defense, so it's pretty strong. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and you just may have to poke and run more with Vile than other characters. Zero is also not that bad. He's got some pretty decent skill with some mobilities, and he's got a shield that he can do if you put a chip in there. So that's a decent character as well. One character that I definitely want to mention is Zero, the Z version of him. I think he's actually really strong. His skills are insane. He's got, so he can immobilize people, right? And then he's also got this shield that he can hold up and then throw at you, essentially, so it can absorb damage. It's just nuts, dude. So don't be afraid to invest in the characters that aren't S. Just because they're S doesn't necessarily mean that they're better than some of these lower rarity characters. I thought they did a pretty decent job with balancing that out, actually. Now, some of these characters might be stronger overall, like, I don't know, there's some really strong characters in S, but don't be afraid to invest in the lower ranked characters. One more tip that is going to be really helpful for PvP. PvP, I think, is a pretty big deal in this game because you get a lot from it. You can get extra, like, gems, and there's all kinds of, there's card packs you can get, and also there's a shop tab that's dedicated just to that. But if you want to get into PvP, this is a chip that you're going to want to invest in. This is the Sting Chameleon chip. It makes you invincible, just like it does in X, but that's insane. So it's really strong. This is the strongest chip in PvP. You can turn it off. That way, let's say you're fighting some of the mobs to get a buff. That way it doesn't just activate. But I haven't gotten this yet. But speaking of this, there's actually an event going on where you can get memories for this right now. So there you go. You can come in here and you can see some of the rewards. You can get Sting Chameleon Memory, so make sure you do that. It's the strongest chip in the game. Other than that, just make sure you come in here, do your daily missions. You know, the more achievements you get, the better, the more currency you'll get. If you need help figuring out what to do with the power, you can just click on this and, you know, just, oh, look, my gun is weak sauce. You just come in here and level it. It's a piece of cake, really easy to do. Make sure you're leveling up your chips and your armor that you would get in the co-op missions. But the main thing I wanted to show you, if you didn't know, was switching the guns. It's absolutely insane. I had no idea, and it changed my MEGAMAN X Dive life. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me. I just wanted to show you guys some of what I learned. I may do more in-depth video whenever the game comes out, and I've played it a lot more whenever the global release comes out. But I wanted to make sure everybody knew that you could switch your weapons because it's insane. But make sure to give me a like if you enjoyed the video, if it was helpful in any way. Leave me any comments or questions in the comments below. I always read everything and I try to answer everything I can, reply as much as I can. I wish you luck in all your summons and your arena matches. Unless you're playing against me, then I wish you bad luck. God bless you guys, and you have a blessed day, y'all.